Hello friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Mechanical Engineering Exams Made Simple. Friends, in this video we will see the questions from friction that is there in your engineering mechanics syllabus for your AE Genco TSPSC. Okay, let us see the questions. Force of friction is directly proportional to, it is proportional to D. All of the above, that is size, area, weight and all these things. Which of the following is the least? It is the rolling friction, because there is only point contact in the rolling friction. Sliding friction, because there is a line contact, it will be more. Friction between two flat surfaces can be reduced by, it is reduced by all of the above. By greasing, using the ball bearing. Ball bearings have rolling contact will have less friction. Decreasing the area of contact, because it is going to depend upon friction force, and that means all of the above. The flying machine offering the least frictional force should be streamlined. Streamlining always reduces or minimizes the friction. Irregular, tree-like and symmetrical with many arms will also increase the friction. Frictional force increases with the increase in, it is going to increase with the roughness of the surface. Neither the smoothness nor the distance between the two bodies, they are not going to come in any way, but it is the roughness of the surface that will increase the frictional force. Lubrication of moving surfaces, it is going to reduce the friction. Lubrication, definitely, because actually there is a contact always results in the friction, and to reduce the contact we have to lubricate the two bodies which are in contact. So this will reduce the contact and hence reduce the friction. Frictional force is due to between two moving surfaces. Right, what is this? Is the softness, roughness, distance. It is the roughness of the bodies, because of which the frictional force is always existing. The maximum value of force required to make the body to just slide is known as, it's called limiting friction. Dynamic friction is the friction when there is a relative motion between the two bodies. Static friction is the friction existing between two bodies when they are at rest, and rolling friction is the friction existing two bodies when they have the relative motion between them is rolling, like ball bearing. Rolling friction is always more than, it is going to be more than none of the above, because it is going to be less than all of these. Dynamic friction, that is the friction when bodies have relative motion. Static friction, the friction when the bodies are at rest relative to each other. And limiting friction, it is the maximum force of friction acting when one body is on the point of sliding over the other body. What can you use to reduce the force of friction on an object? So what can you do? You can do all of these. What is this? You can lubricate the surface, by which you can reduce the force of friction, or streamline the body shape, or reduce the surface area in contact of two bodies. All these things will result in reducing the friction. Which of the statement is correct about rolling and sliding friction? Rolling friction is greater than sliding. Rolling friction is lesser than sliding. Rolling and sliding frictions or thing on body are equal. It is actually, rolling friction is lesser than the sliding friction. In the sliding friction, there is a line contact or surface contact, but as rolling friction, there is only point contact, something like your ball bearing, roller bearing, needle bearing, etc. Especially ball bearings, friends. In the roller bearings and needle bearings also, it is not the point contact, a bit surface contact will be there. A body will experience the minimum friction in vacuum, air, fresh water, sea water. What is the correct answer? It is vacuum. Air will also result in friction, fresh water and sea water, because it is only in the vacuum that a body will experience the minimum friction. There is nothing. Vacuum means nothing. Any surface will induce the friction. Air, fresh water and sea water. Ball bearings are used to, why? Increase the surface area, decrease surface area, increase friction, decrease friction. They are going to both. They can do it by decreasing the surface area and hence decrease the friction. Lubricants are used to reduce the friction. Lubrication is one of the important aspects in reducing the friction, because in mission parts we are going to lubricate the surfaces to reduce the friction and hence the power loss. Your power loss, power wastage is going to be directly proportional to the friction existing between the bodies. Power lost to or due to friction is also called power dissipated. SI units of force of friction. What are these SI units? It is newtons. SI unit, system international. SI means system international. Units of force are newtons. Kg meter per second square. It is also called newton, but exactly to be specific, it is newton. Kg weight, it is not the. It is a gravitational unit. It is equal to 9.81 newtons or G newtons, or the Newton value newtons in numerically equal to the acceleration due to gravity Z. Ball bearings are used to, they are going to decrease the friction. Ball bearings. The use of lubricants makes the surface smooth. They are going to make the surfaces smooth. That's why we are going to lubricate the surfaces. The friction force dash with the roughness of the surfaces. It is going to increase with the increase in the roughness of the surfaces. Direct proportion between the roughness and the force of friction between the surfaces. The maximum force of friction when the body is just beginning to move is known as the limiting friction. It's a good question, friends. It is always, most of the examinations it is asked limiting friction, rolling friction, static friction, and dynamic friction. You have to clearly distinguish between these two types of friction, four types of friction. One is static friction, rolling friction, dynamic friction, and limiting friction. The friction that exists between surfaces sliding on the surface is known as the it is called dynamic friction, because actually there is a sliding motion, there is a relative motion between the surfaces. Okay, friends, in this video we have seen questions from friction, which is useful for your AE Genco TSPSC, which is going to be conducted from 31st of this month, next month, 31st March. We are going to see some more questions which is useful from your syllabus point of view in our next videos. Let us meet in the next video.